all in, you couldn't really want or expect a better driving experience than this.
There is one brand that has surprised us all in recent years. It's MG. In no time at all, it's gone from bit part small car and SUV maker to EV giant, with some of the best and most affordable electric vehicles bearing that hallowed sports car badge. The MG ZS is our reigning family electric car of the year, while the MG5 has just been facelifted and remains just one of a handful of electric estates currently on sale. And now there's this, the new MG4 EV, a Volkswagen Golf-sized hatchback that undercuts every electric car currently on sale, apart from the two-seat Smart 4.2.
But I suspect that's the first and last time that we'll mention that Smart in this video, because apart from the fact that they're both driven purely by electricity, that is pretty much where the similarities end. For less than £30,000, this MG gives you a 200-mile range, fast charging, 2 screens inside with Apple and Android connectivity. What more could you want? Well, a quick subscribe would be nice. And because the MG4 has been designed as an electric car from the off, it feels big, it feels airy, it feels spacious in here. This section is set down low, so it gives you a real sense of space. This dashboard layout in general is perhaps not the most inspiring we've seen, not in this class certainly, but it's functional and it works. There's a row of shortcut buttons up here. Okay, the way they click feels a little bit cheap perhaps, and that is the story for a few of the plastics and surfaces in here, but you can't turn your nose up given the price. The screen itself though is pretty responsive, but the menus could be a little bit better laid out. It's a little bit complicated and you do have to delve into some of the sub menus to change things like the speed limit to the cruise control or the level of the regenerative braking. That's just a little bit frustrating. And well, I've sat in this car for a week now and I'm still not completely convinced or that I know what the buttons on the steering wheel are going to do. At least you've got these digital dials up here which are really clear. You've got speed, trip, range information, that's all there, really obvious and really easy to read. Otherwise, you've got a couple of cup holders down here, you've got a lidded section under there which you can store keys and stuff, you've got another bin under here and a net, and even if you don't go for the top spec car with wireless phone charging, you do get a nice little ledge for your phone.
If the interior seems simple, then so will the trim structure. The entry-level SE comes in either standard or long-range spec, while the top-of-the-range Trophy is only available with the larger of the 2 batteries. SE, like we have here, will do the job for most people, though it depends what kind of kit you deem essential on a car like this. All models get the 2 screens, LED lights, alloy wheels and rear parking sensors, but SE cars miss out on stuff like heated leather seats, that wireless smartphone charging we mentioned, or 360-degree parking cameras. You get remote access whichever version you go for, which is a boon in the winter months. Just remember to download the app, something that I didn't do before I got in the car this morning. Full specs, as always, are available on carbuyer.co.uk.
But no matter, the car is warm now, so we'll park that small oversight for the time being. It was my fault. Anyway, but whatever intelligence its user lacks, the MG more than makes up for on the road. If you're looking for some of that old school MG magic, then this is the car that comes closest. The ZS, as capable as it is, isn't much fun to drive. The MG4 on the other hand, well, it's rear wheel drive, so while it doesn't feel quite like a 70s petrol powered sports car, it's responsive, it's quick-witted, it's just really nice to drive. The steering is sharp, body control is good, the ride is supple, and no matter which version you go for, 0-62 takes less than 8 seconds. The smaller battery version is a bit lighter, so it's a little bit punchier, but you get that instant electric kick that we're so used to with EVs. And there's even a hot 400 horsepower hot hatchback on the way.
Of course, if you use the performance on offer, you won't get close to the claim range, nor will you through the winter. We were seeing 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour when we tested the MG4 in the summer, roughly 240 miles on this long-range car versus an official figure between 270 and 281 miles, but that dropped to just 3 miles per kilowatt hour as the temperature fell close to 0. That's almost 100 miles off MG's claim. But it's not uncommon for EVs to lose range through the colder months, and with quick 135 kilowatt charging on the bigger battery model, you'll be back on the road in no time. That sort of charging speed is on par with the Volkswagen ID3 and the Cupra Born, as well as the latest Renault Megane. You're looking at a 35-minute fast charge time, or around 9 hours via a home wall box.
One thing we often talk about in our electric car reviews is regenerative braking, and the MG has 4 modes. You've got low, medium, strong and adaptive, and while the strongest setting isn't quite good enough for one pedal driving, in that when you lift off the accelerator it won't bring you to a complete stop, it's near enough usable in 90% of situations. And when you do actually have to use the brake pedal, it's no problem at all because it's nice and smooth, which is more than we can say for some premium EVs costing, what, 2-3 times the price? The MG4 though, it's quiet, it's comfortable, the 17-inch wheels on our car are the only option, and you never feel sharp jolts or potholes making themselves known in the cabin, and even at motorway speeds it stays hushed. All in, you couldn't really want or expect a better driving experience than this, certainly in a family hatchback.
And if you're still feeling a bit apprehensive about diving feet first into the world of electric motoring and taking a punt on a brand we've not really seen much of in recent times, then you should take comfort in the 7-year, 80,000 mile warranty. MG does have some work to do on customer satisfaction though, and is one fairly major sticking point for us. The brand ranked 28th out of 29 makers in the 2022 Driver Power Owner Satisfaction Survey.
We mentioned that sense of roominess up front, and by and large it's the same story back here. It does feel a little bit dark. You've got a dark headlining, you've got dark seats, dark material on the doors as well, so it does feel a little bit kind of hemmed in, but in terms of outright space it is pretty good. There's room for 3 to sit across the back, and there's a flat floor, so you've got enough room for your feet as well. But in terms of luxuries or niceties or added features, there isn't much at all. You've got a single USB down there, and that is pretty much it. But if there's one area where the MG falls a little bit short, it's here in the boot. It's not tiny, but, well, with a family hatch you just expect a little bit more, especially if it's electric. You see, all that space that you had on the inside there, that's because with a bespoke electric car you don't have to have all of that stuff that transfers drive between the front and rear wheels like it does in a petrol or diesel car. I suppose this being rear wheel drive, there is all the motor and stuff behind there and underneath there, but you still expect a little bit more than 363 litres. That's less than the ID3 or the Cupra Born, and quite a bit less than a Megane as well. And further to that, you're going to have to store the cables in here as well, because there is no underfloor storage or space in the nose, which you do get in some EVs. The seats do fold 60-40, nice and easy, but there's a little step in the floor. But regardless, the 1,177 litre space with everything folded flat is usable in its own right. Okay, time for some deal makers and deal breakers.
We need more good value electric cars, and the MG4 is one of the best. Even in top spec guys, it dramatically undercuts its main rivals. And where value for money extends to all aspects of MG4 ownership, that you can get one with a big battery and a long range for less than 30k only cements its place at the very top of this class. Dual screens inside with Apple and Android connectivity, plus fast charging tech for a 10 to 80% top up in 35 minutes. In plenty of ways, this really does feel like a no compromise EV. However, having said that, it isn't quite perfect. The boot is on the small side for this class of car, and there's no frunk for storing the charging cables out of the way. And then there's our final deal breaker. It's one that, depending on your viewpoint, could just as easily be a deal maker. You may not want wireless phone charging or heated seats, but if you do, it's not a huge step up.
This is an exceptional car. It's spacious enough to act as most people's only car, and then there's the interior, the technology, the range, the charging. That'll be sufficient for most people as well. But it's how it does all of that and yet still costs thousands less than the equivalent VW, Cupra or Renault. How MG can punt these things out at this price, it's anyone's guess.
If you like this video, then why not watch our review of the Renault Megane E-Tech Electric, or our electric cars playlist. Thanks for watching.